Okay, this is assignment 5-2, day 1, problem 30. Tangent squared theta minus sine squared theta is equal to tangent squared theta sine squared theta. Okay, I have a couple choices to go with this. I can start on this side here, and let's get a little pointer in there so we can talk about it. So I can start over here on tangent squared theta minus sine squared theta, but we're going to do this side later, and you do not have to do both sides. I'm just going to do both sides just in case someone started on one side or another. So I have tangent squared theta sine squared theta over here on the right. Now keep in mind I've got to get this subtract sign in here, and I know that if I'm talking about cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta is equal to 1. So I know that cosine squared theta is equal to 1 minus sine squared theta, or I can go sine squared theta is equal to 1 minus cosine squared theta. Okay, now I have a choice here to make this happen, all right? But I'm going to substitute right here for sine squared theta right here, this value. So I have this, and I have tangent squared theta times the quantity 1 minus cosine squared theta. Okay, if I distribute this, now keep in mind, this tan squared theta is the same as sine squared theta over cosine squared theta times 1 minus cosine squared theta. When I multiply that, I'm going to get that sine squared theta over cosine squared theta. Minus, remember I'm multiplying it there and there. Minus, now keep in mind, I'm going to have sine squared theta divided by cosine squared theta times cosine squared theta. Cosine squared thetas will cancel, and now this sine squared theta over cosine squared theta is tangent squared theta minus sine squared theta. So that's the left side. Now I'm going to change colors here, and we'll do the right side. And I'm also going to take care of my little scribbles here, and we're going to talk about that right side. So looking at the right side, if I wanted to do the right side, okay, the first thing I had to do was recognize that sine squared theta over cosine squared theta minus sine squared theta. Okay, so now I broke it down. I changed tangent to sines and cosines. I am going to factor out sine squared theta. Sine squared theta over cosine squared theta is going to be factored out of both terms. So out of this term, it's 1. But out of this term, remember, minus, I'm looking at what was here to make my multiplication of sine squared theta over cosine squared theta just sine squared theta. It had to be a cosine squared theta. Now, because that's 1 minus cosine squared theta, and this is sine squared theta over cosine squared theta, I'm going to do two substitutions. First one is tangent squared theta. The second one is I know 1 minus cosine squared theta is sine squared theta. So now my final is tangent squared theta, sine squared theta. Okay, and that one's done. Okay, and that's what we've got for this problem.